And our first story, the Ghana National Fire Service says it will be engaging fuel tanker owners and drivers as part of sensitization programs aimed at preventing fire outbreaks. The exercise, which will be carried out with the police, is to ensure that drivers and owners adhere strictly to safety measures. And this follows a number of fire outbreaks across Ghana involving fuel tankers and their garages.
A dozen of tankers were destroyed in a fire outbreak at the tanker yard at Ashaiman about 2 weeks ago. At a news conference in Accra Tuesday, the Chief Fire Officer, Dr. Albert Brown Gacy, said it has become necessary to engage tanker drivers and owners since they are key stakeholders. Although the news conference was to make public details of the Ashaiman tanker yard fire, Dr. Brown Gacy did not give details. According to him, the report on the tanker yard fire has been submitted to the Interior Ministry. The tanker drivers and owners are expected to cooperate to ensure that the fire outbreaks are avoided.
I believe very well that all of us, the oil marketing companies, the petrol tankers, petrol and diesel tankers association, those who operate gases, must all help to minimize the occurrence of these fire outbreaks. Because most often than not, the consequential effect is not only the burning of the tanker, but at the same time too, innocent people are affected. Since one cannot underestimate the spread of these fires, I have directed my regional commanders that they should inspect where they keep these tanker operations, where they operate. They should also look at areas where these hazards are, and if they need to close them down, they should close them down.
Meanwhile, Ghana National Fire Service has introduced new fire certificates due to changes made in their LI 1724 as part of their fire safety. Dr. Brown Gacy says one will be issued a fire certificate based on the work the individual does.
Now we have a high-risk certificate. That will be a certificate for only high-risk installations in areas. We have medium risk with a color code, which will also be issued for areas that are of medium risk. And we have the low risk. So most of our fires now in this country would be classified on the basis of risk. That is A, B, C. Now, either two, we had only this, which was one certificate covering all. And we have had situations where some individuals have replicated and duplicated this particular certificate.
Ghana National Fire Service says in the event of damage caused by a fire certificate will be required by an insurance company before paying claims. Kwame Yanka reports for Joy News.
A senior research fellow at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Dr. Michael Oforimensa, has described as a mess the current handling of executive assets during transition periods, and so far has called on the country's legislature to put sensible measures in place to fix the difficulties. Latif Idris has a lot more.
Dr. Ofori made the call during a post-mortem of the 2017 presidential transition, which was characterized by car seizures and forceful evictions and takeovers of state installations. The senior research fellow also called for an end to the sale of state assets to government appointees.
We are not saying that government should not make decisions, even when it's in its dying days. Of course, there might be very critical issues that need to be addressed, but there should be mechanisms for doing this. There are consultations that need to be done. You cannot commit an incoming government to, to some contracts that would more or less even perhaps go beyond the next administration's tenure of office. And I think we need to put sensible measures in place in this. The transition law remains integral to good governance in Ghana, and executive management should change. I would say I've struggled to find a better word, but I'll say the management of executive assets in this country is a mess. And that we need to try and change.
Senior Minister Osafo Mafo, on the other hand, has blamed the NDC administration for the confusion that characterized the 2017 transition The senior minister lamented challenges confronted by President Akufo-Addo's administration largely has to do with the last-minute contracts signed and appointments made by then-President Mahama within the last 14 days of his tenure, particularly the appointment of the Auditor General. The late-night executive decisions by the president, according to the senior minister, is a complete waste of everybody's time, and the country risks payment of judgment debt if the contracts are not reviewed properly. Mr. Yaosef Mafu, however, added the Transition Act needs serious amendments to help prevent future occurrences.
The Americans have a term, the lame duck president. That term is not there for nothing. You are elected, you are outgoing president, but your functions are literally taken away from you in respect of many important issues. We are waiting for a new coming administration, and you don't do anything that is significant. The day-to-day running of the country can go ahead, but you don't do anything that is pronouncedly significant. And I think we have to be very clear in the law about what can be done and what cannot be done.
Considering the role of the Administrator General during the transition period, the senior minister advocated the office be elevated to the level of Article 71 office holders in order to make it efficient.
The office of the Administrator General must be taken as one of the Article 70 office holders, and it must be resourced and must play the role of the one in charge of the continuous assets of this country. To me, that office should be so active that any procurement that takes place, he should be copied to. If we build our assets base safe today and we have X, then future procurement, that office should be notified so that when you are updating the future assets, it will not going to be very difficult. It must be compulsory for any procurement that takes place within the government sector to copy to that office.
The previous NDC administration acted illegally when it spent some 51 billion cedis during the 2016 fiscal year. And that's according to the majority in Parliament. They say the House approved for government to spend only 43 billion cedis. Parliament on Tuesday continued its debate on the 2017 budget statement. Listen to NPP MP for Ayawaso West Wogon, Emmanuel Chiramantinge Jako, in the following exchange with the minority spokesperson on finance, Kaisel Atoforsen.
Page 160. This August House approved that the government could spend a certain amount of money. This NDC government, this past NDC government, went ahead and broke the law. The appropriation was a law, it's a law. They went ahead and broke the law. For virtually all the expenditure items, they broke the law. Mr. Speaker, if you look at expenditure, total expenditure, with the revised budget, it came up to 43 billion 983 835 599. This government ended up spending well over 51 billion. The NDC government, previous NDC government. You see, they went ahead and broke the law with impunity. And then they turned around and say that we did better than you. Mr. Speaker, I submit that the appropriation was 6.3 billion. When you spend 7.6 billion, you did it breaking the law. Indeed, you must come to this house and apologize for what you have done.
Mr. Speaker, I can say on authority that as a Deputy Minister of Finance the then administration never broke the Appropriations Act. We stay within the Appropriations Act, and what he's talking about is not the case. Mr. Speaker, the expenditure he's making reference to is on commitment basis, not cash. The appropriations is on cash basis, so you cannot compare the two and draw conclusion that the appropriations should come again.
Away from Parliament, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has paid a courtesy call on President Akufo-Addo at the Flagstaff House here in Accra. President of the Chamber, Nana Appiah-Dankwa, also congratulated the President on his assumption of office and also lauded his support for the private sector. Addressing the President, the GCI President highlighted three major issues that he said needed urgent attention. And these included the One District, One Factory initiative, limited access to large acreages of land, and the absence of land banks, as well as the Sea Link project. On the One District, One Factory initiative, he said the chamber had already started engaging its members as well as international investors to leverage on the opportunities that it could present.
But for now, we want to talk about the One Factory, One District, One Factory initiative that your government has brought. And also, we have also realized that it is seriously enshrined in the MPP manifesto. And in the first State of the Nation's address, Your Excellency, you spoke much about that. And that has given us that, that push for us to come and talk about it. We have also realized that the implementation of this initiative is not yet available, but we hope to call on our Minister for Trade when it is ready for us to prepare ourselves. In fact, we are putting ourselves together to see how we can support government to bring this noble idea to fruition. The second of its kind that we want to talk about is the limited, limited access to large hectares of land and the absence of landmarks. And then the third issue, Your Excellency, will be the Sea-Link project. And when it gets to the Sea-Link project, I will ask Mr. Crawford, who is a Ghanaian and who is also a former president and now the chairman of the Sea-Link, which is an initiative of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce, which has been taken over by Federation of West African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to see how best we can have a Sea-Link, that is ships running within the sub-region. It is a challenge for now. But looking at the borderless issues that we have started all this while, it has not been helping us. And I think there is no border on the sea. So we think that if you are able to look at that, it will alleviate most of the us from the corruption issues that are going on various borders.
See an organization like yours as a natural ally of what we are trying to do. And it is why I say that I see that there is a common understanding of what we are trying to do, what we need to do to build the Ghanaian private sector so that it can take this frontline role in the process of social and economic transformation of our country. What we need to do to strengthen our enterprises, both enterprises working in agriculture, small, medium, large scale, as well as the same small, medium, large scale in the industrial sector. They are the two principal focus of our policy, and we believe that they are the two most effective ways we can grow our economy and also deal with the issues of unemployment, which is a major problem in our country. The land tenure system. There's been a program on the drawing table for now. It's now becoming decades, no longer a matter of years. The land administration bill. We are going to make sure that as humanly possible, we bring it into play, into reality, so that it can simplify and rationalize land holding, land tenure in the country, especially to facilitate investment in agriculture and in commercial.
The National Labour Commission says it has no records of the Mawako assault case in which a restaurant supervisor dipped the face of an employee in blended pepper. The suspect is currently in police custody and is scheduled to appear before a court today. And the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Charles Bawodria, told Joy News that neither of the parties involved in the incident had petitioned the Commission.
The National Labour Commission have no records on the Mawako case because it has not been reported to the Commission by any party. The National Labour Commission is a quasi-judicial body. It is an adjudicatory body which mandate is to settle or adjudicate, decide on industrial disputes or labor issues which has come before the commission. So our mandate is very specific to decide disputes. And in as much as a dispute has not been filed before the commission cannot be determining a dispute that it has not received.
And that's it for the news. But we'll do a lot more newspaper reviews and look at what stories there are on the online platforms. And we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll do all that. We're streaming live on Facebook. Join News on TV is the name of the page. Join News on TV is our Twitter handle. And if you go to Multi TV World, you get to find that we're also streaming there. So please make sure you log on to the internet, Multi TV World. Search for it. You'll see us streaming there live. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll be doing the reviews.